Story 1.
My mom, 53 female, cheated on my dad, 55 male, when I, 28 male, was 19 with a good friend of his. It almost broke my father given that it was a good friend of his that she cheated on him with. My dad struggled with depression and trust issues for a long time and even cut out his entire social circle of friends. He just locked himself away. I took care of dad and he after therapy has gotten better and is doing okay now. The last thing I said to mom was that she was finished with me. So, it's been around 8 years since I have spoken to mom. She eventually married dad's friend. She even had the gall to send me an invite to the wedding. I honestly just remember the hell she put me and dad through and have no real interest in reconnecting with her whatsoever. But she sent me a letter since I have her number blocked and she is blocked on FB along with her husband. I almost wanted to tear it up and just throw it away but decided to open and read it. Mom just wrote that she has missed a lot in my life and that she was sorry for what she put dad through and has tried to talk to me many times over the years about it. She asked me to please come to her place and talk and she made it clear her husband would not be there and it would just be us talking. So, struggling on what to do and feel like I want to be stubborn like I have been for the last 8 years, where I have pretended she did not exist. I also want to make it clear that dad has never said a bad word about mom. All these years he was just depressed and lost faith in his friends and stopped trusting people. The affair had lasted quite a while right under his nose with mom and his friend lying to him for many years. He after therapy opened up and managed to deal with it. I just decided to cut mom out of my life and move on without her, which was my way of dealing with it. The reason I am considering meeting her is because we never actually had a conversation about it. I never gave her a chance to explain herself and honestly was just curious to hear what she has to say. Anyways, just me airing some thoughts out and just can't seem to make up my mind on what to do.
Update.
Hey everybody. Did not expect the first post to garner so much attention and just wanted to say that I decided to meet with mom, on the advice of several in here. I decided to meet her at a public place, and it was a nice day, so we went for a walk in the park and just talked. She did warn me in advance that her husband would pick her up after and asked if that was okay and I said fine, that does not bother me. She made no excuses for what happened and was just sorry, which she kept saying over and over, and I said that I almost did not show, but I am not here for you but for me, and she understood that. We sat down at a bench and just talked. My question was if dad did anything wrong or was abusive. She denied it and said no. She said just developed feelings for someone else and it does not justify the years I lied to him. She said, I just said to us you lied to me too, not just him. I also told her how I feel looking back at my teenage years and have had quite some time reflecting over them, and suddenly remember things that he, dad's ex-friend, was at our house when dad was away and that I felt guilty for not noticing or even connecting the dots, which in hindsight I should have done. All these small memories of you and him being very friendly with each other, and like an idiot I did not connect the dots. That's what I think about when I think back on those years. I told her and suddenly many things from that time made sense. I also told her that dad never said a bad word about her or her husband. He struggled with depression and there was a time where I was worried I might find him with a bullet in the head. You and your husband, his best friend, did this to him, two of the closest people in his life besides me. I on the other hand decided to do what I felt was right and cut off all contact with you, and no, dad did not ask me to do so. I made that decision on my own. Why are you writing me letters and what do you want from me now? She just said she just wanted to be in my life. I just said you should have thought about that while you were lying through your teeth for 5 years. And to think I actually liked spending time with dad's friend, him, me and dad even went fishing one time and acted like a buddy to dad. Just lies and deception. How could you manage it for so many years? She had no answer to that. We talked a lot more, most of me berating her, but I let her speak her piece, and once we were done talking, I just said I am doing fine without you. I just wanted to meet because I wanted closure and I have gotten it now. My impression is that you are not sorry about this, but you are sorry getting caught. She started to argue and just said no, she was really sorry and if she could do anything so that we at least could try to have some contact she would. I just said the only thing that would even make me consider having any contact is for you to make a choice you already made, either divorce him or stay with him and no contact with me. But I am not going to force you to make that choice because you already made it. I also said I feel I got what I came for, which was closure, and you wanted to speak your piece. Now you have, and I still don't feel I want to have any contact with you. Just leave me alone. You made your choice and frankly I'm not angry with you, but I also don't want to have any contact with you anymore. I felt like I went too far and acted a little colder than I would like. Anybody who knew me would have said that was out of character for me. She was in tears, and I just told her live your life and I will live mine, but I don't want you to be a part of mine. And that was it. No handshake, hug, or anything. I just walked away, and honestly, I feel I made the right call. I remained calm throughout the entire thing, no name calling or anything, but yeah, leaving my mom crying was hard and not something I'm proud of. But I honestly wanted her to know why I cut contact, and despite everything I feel lighter and ready to move on. I know many expected a full meltdown from me if I met her, but it was very calm and had no real dramatics. I honestly had been preparing for this conversation for years in my mind. And now she knows where I stand.
My opinion. I'm sorry to hear that your mother did that to you and to your dad. Anyway, I don't think you can blame yourself for not noticing everything happening. You were a teenager, no experience in life whatsoever. So, it is definitely not your fault. Your decision is fully understandable and clear. I think I found for myself an interesting new concept of cheating from your story. Your mother didn't want to continue with your dad after she got caught. But she never thought she may lose you as well. That is the thing a person who decided to cheat and divorce their partner should think about as well. The child might not want to keep in contact with this parent anymore. She, and, well, most of cheaters, I believe, think that they are risking ruining relationships with only one person, their spouse, not kids as well. Thank you for your story. Story 2.
Reddit, my mom met a guy online 3 months ago. She tells me yesterday she's moving from Pa to Florida with him at the end of the week after they meet face to face for the first time. Supremely shady details inside. Using a throwaway. Too mind fucked over this and have a few friends on Reddit. Backstory. So, my mom has been single for years. She's been divorced a total of 3 times, a 1-year marriage when she was 18, married to my dad for 10 years, then remarried my retard stepdad almost another 10. And her last relationship was probably 8+ years ago. That was also to another waste of space, but she didn't marry that one. Recently, she started dating online, and myself and my older brother and younger sister have been supportive of this. We understand she wants to meet someone, and she deserves it too. She's been relatively cautious up until now and has been using a background check program on anyone she meets. She's turned away a number of scammer-type guys she's met, one she literally nicknamed Nigeria, and hasn't been easily duped. So, she meets Jeff on another site. She had been using Match.com, where she met all the scammers. He came up on another site that isn't as well known. Jeff is a wealthy Russian businessman that has lived in the US since he was 23. He's got a daughter going to school in England and owns a construction company and is planning to retire soon. Jeff and Mom have been talking for a grand total of 3 months. The first month she even admitted she didn't talk to him much, since she was talking to all sorts of people when she first joined these dating sites, so really, let's call it 2 months. She's told me a few times before now that she really likes him, but that's been it thus far. She texted me Saturday night saying just that. Yesterday, she called me. After the usual pleasantries, she drops the bombshell on me. Her and Jeff are in love. He asked her to marry him. She said yes. The wedding is over in the summer. He's visiting her in Pa next week. When he leaves Pa, she's going with him. This, all over the phone. They haven't met face to face yet. She's not sure how to tell her boss, whom she's worked for almost 9 years, that she's quitting, but he sure as hell isn't getting 2 weeks' notice. Jeff wants to take care of her. She doesn't need her car. He'll take care of it. She owes too much to sell it yet. He calls her his world. He's got money and doesn't want her to work. My mom has always struggled with money, and obviously, men. This guy comes along with a fairy tale story and wants to give her everything she could want. And she's hooked. Reddit, what the hell? This is how 2020 specials start. I'm so incredibly worried about her and can't make any sense of this situation. Yes, there is always the possibility that this guy is completely legit, and he just wants to sweep her off her feet and make her happy for the rest of her life. Then again, if anyone told you they had met a wealthy Russian living in Florida who was about to retire on millions and wanted to do nothing more than just take care of them, would call that a fairy tale, and who would call it a scam? Additional details. Mom's not an American citizen. She has a green card and moved here from Australia about 20 years ago. I don't know if he's a citizen or not, but if this is what it's about, the joke's on him. Beyond whatever she might have in a life insurance policy and a little retirement, neither of which I have any idea of, but which I don't believe to been significant, she really has no assets. My brother bought a house and moved her in there. My brother and sister are in PA, but I moved to Florida and will, thankfully, be only about 2.5 hours from where she is planning to move. I have been cautiously supportive. I told her my main reservation is that she's leaving with him immediately. If he's got so much money, take a few months and actually date, then decide to move down there. I text her today asking for Jeff's last name and the name of his company. Her response was, "I don't feel like talking today. Love you." Edit. Thank you, Reddit. I haven't spoken to my mom yet, but you guys have given me a ton of great advice. Needless to say, I'm more concerned than before, but that's only going to motivate me to really make her aware of just how shady this sounds, and how worried I am. I've got to get some work done for now, and have needed to all day, but oh well, but I'll update you on this thread periodically, as well as later on when something has been resolved. Edit 2. I know you guys are dying for details, and people have sent me some really helpful links. Right now, though, I don't have his picture, so no tin eye or luck searching romancescam.com, no last name, so no people.com or unleashing the hordes of the internet on him, or anything else at the moment. I spoke to my mom briefly a bit ago, who is, unfortunately, at the hospital with my sister who is apparently going through a ruptured appendix. Mom claims she was just cranky when I texted her earlier, and that we'll talk tonight. Needless to say, it's been a creepy couple of days. Mom did say we would talk later, but for the time being, I really can't get any details about this guy. As soon as I know more, or anything has actually happened, I'll post details. But thank you again, Reddit. The support, advice, links, and wealth of terrifyingly similar stories has been hugely helpful. Edit 3. FYI, just to clarify, I'm a daughter, not a son. Edit 4. You've been amazing. Thank you for all the feedback, suggestions and kind words. At this point, there's nothing I can do tonight. My sister is undergoing an emergency appendectomy, of all days, seriously, and my mom is with her at the hospital. It's not exactly an ideal time to be pressing her about this guy. I'm definitely going to get details on him tomorrow, as I do believe she won't try to withhold that information. But until then, I can't offer anything else. Thank you all again. I've received some really incredible PMS about people with heavy-duty resources, and will definitely be following up with them, especially as soon as I have more info. Good night to you all. Much love. Edit 5. I know you guys are dying for details, so here is the only update I have for now. I got some very basic details about this guy that my sister had mentioned to my brother. With the help of some supremely rad Redditors, we've ID'd a Jeff in the correct Florida city and gated community that I believe to be this guy. And when I say basic, I mean basic. I'm amazed that with the limited info I provided, people were able to find stuff, but I'll just say that I believe this to be the correct person. Whether or not my mom's Russian is actually Jeff, or if said Jeff has had his identity stolen, I don't know yet. If this Jeff is the same guy, he's most definitely lying to my mom, since he's got a wife and his house is for sale. That's all for now, though. Mom's checking up on my sister for the morning at the hospital, then I'll be speaking to her this afternoon for details. Stay tuned, and thanks to everyone again.
Update.
So, I spoke to my mom just now. She filled me on my sister, doing fine, by the way, and then we got into this current situation. She said that when I called her yesterday and expressed my serious concern about her leaving so soon, she said it was a serious wake-up call. She has also since started to take the blinders off on the warning flares that went up, and admitted to me that she is seeing more warning signs. She said that Jeff has, since she started asking questions just yesterday, clammed up. He's giving her the, "I know your kids want to know all about the man that is sweeping you off your feet, but we need to keep our private life private." Thankfully, she acknowledges how shady a comment like that is. Finally, she said he recently asked her to do a favor for him. She won't tell me what it is, could be receiving and shipping goods, could be sending money, who knows. She was adamant that she wouldn't tell me, but she's horribly embarrassed regardless. So, here's where it stands. She says Bose thank you, gave her the wake-up call she needed, and she's convinced he's a scammer. She's also horribly heartbroken and feeling embarrassed. She broke down on the phone and I swear it's been years since I've heard my mom cry. Thank God, however, that she isn't moving forward. However, what remains to be seen is the true identity of Jeff. With the help of some seriously awesome Redditors, I believe I know who the Jeff is that this Russian is parading as. Her Russian definitely has a thick accent, and the Jeff that he claims to be apparently graduated from high school in Ohio in 1981, so I think it's safe to assume that Jeff has had his identity stolen. Her and I are going to email details tonight and see if we can't come up with more questions or leads on this guy. We will definitely inform the real Jeff of what's going on. There's good reason to assume he's innocent in this. The background info that other Redditors have dug up isn't giving any indication that he's a shady dude, but we want to see if we can't find out more from the Russian first. In this case, if we can find out who the Russian really is, believe me, I'll go to be myself.
Update.
I figure a new post was a better place for an update, since the other one had gotten so crazy. 1. The most recent update is that Mom is not moving to Florida with Jeff. She said I helped her see the light about the situation when I called her back about it after our first conversation. Thankfully, she took the blinders off, recognized that there were warning signs, and is completely convinced this guy is not who he says he is. Mom's really hurt, but thankful that she didn't let it go any further. 2. Nothing has moved forward over the last day or so since my sister got out of the hospital from her appendectomy. Work was busy on Friday, and without the rush to make sure Mom didn't pack up in the next few days, I haven't been as on top of pursuing more leads as I should have. That said, there are still some really incredible Redditors out there that have helped track down some really impressive info for me, and I plan on sending them some additional info that might give us an idea as to who the Russian is that is masquerading as Jeff. I'll post updates on this situation as they come about. 3. Lastly, this was suggested by another Redditor in the old post, and I really liked the idea. I think it would be great if we could pull together a list of best practices to try and keep our friends and family, especially the older ones, safe when it comes to meeting people online. Once I posted my story, I was horrified at the abundance of people that had heard or experienced the same story, with slight variations. I think that it's one thing to say, "Mom, this sounds like a scam." It's another to go to her and say, "Mom, this has every hallmark of being a scam. It has a through Z on the list of warning signs." So, I'll start. These aren't all necessarily pertaining to my mom's situation, but deal with details other people warned me of. Please feel free to contribute. Start at romancescam.com if you have suspicions. I was contacted by a mod there after they got a ton of hits, thanks, Reddit. D. And they have a really great collection of stories and warnings from other people that have been hurt, duped, or lost everything. Rich, foreign businessmen do not find love on Match.com with middle or lower class women. If the new romance asks for favors that seem innocuous, receive and send some mail, packages, send a small loan, anything that a legal citizen with a job, a working phone, and a legit address should be able to do for themselves without any problems, it's not innocuous, and could possibly be criminal. Fun fact: if they actually are a Russian in Florida, run for the hills. I know it's all anecdotal, but the number of people commenting on the fact that Florida is the place for Russians in organized crime spooked me sufficiently. I would love feedback on this one. I wouldn't want to say, don't date foreigners, but the number of people dealing with stories of men and women from other countries with accents that woo too many people is highly common. Should one just assume that it's a red flag and be highly wary until their identity is actually verified? Thanks again for everything, Reddit. You rock my socks so hard. Seriously, I'm barefoot right now.
My opinion. Great news about your mom. I'm very glad you opened her eyes. People who haven't grown with internet are more likely to be target of such scammers. They're quite good at playing tricks with people's brain using sophisticated psychological methods, letting people fill in all the blanks with their fantasies under all those relationship blossom. And yes, there are tons of wealthy Russians with dark past in Florida, but their tastes are very different from, as you said, middle or lower class women. I'm not saying your mom couldn't build interest in Russian, let's say, businessman from Florida, but their tastes are different from what the best mother of 3 adults can offer. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe on my channel.